Hello, and welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes with Freed. I'm your host, Michael Freed. I'm a litigation partner in the matrimonial and family law firm of Berkman, Botker, Newman, and Schein, with offices in New York City, Westchester, and Long Island. And today, my special guest is Mitchell Fink, who's the owner of Little Fox Media, Inc. So, Mitchell, welcome to 5 Minutes with Freed.
Thanks, Michael. I'm happy to be here.
So, Mitchell, what is Little Fox Media, Inc., and what's your role in the company?
It's a company that I started in 2006 after a 30-year career in journalism. And I started writing books, and I knew I needed to run it through a company. And I formed Little Fox Media. I work today with writers. I edit manuscripts for people. I get them agents affiliation. Hopefully they get published. I do PR for them. And I do all this for myself too. And I'm a one-man band.
It's great. So, Mitchell, you know that I'm a matrimonial and family law attorney. When would my clients most often require your services?
Well, first of all, you should know that a matrimonial attorney, I edited his manuscript recently. It had the greatest title. I don't know if it still has the same title, but the title was An Elephant Doesn't Marry a Giraffe. And unbelievable stories, as you can well imagine,
Right.
in that field. I have hooked him up with a literary agent, and she's shopping his manuscript right now. But you know, if you're involved in high-profile divorces, then when it comes to PR, you know, the media can be an unwitting accomplice to one side or the other. That's number one. Number two, if they're high profile enough, they may want to write a book.
What is the best way for a prospective client or other professional to contact you?
I think the best way for me is email. My email is very simple. It's my initials, MF News, NEWS, followed by the number 1 at gmail.com. I can also be reached through Facebook and LinkedIn.
Excellent. Perfect. So, Mitchell Fink, we have now come to the most important part of our show, and that happens to be the question of the week. So, Mitchell Fink, this is your question of the week. Who would you want as a mentor at the start of your career if you had the opportunity, and why?
I'm going to be brutally honest with you and give you someone who was an actual mentor of mine, who was just the greatest newspaper editor ever, and his name was Jim Bellows. Jim Bellows was a writer's editor, and he invented writers like Tom Wolfe, Dick Schaap, Jimmy Breslin. You know, they all worked for him at the Herald Tribune in New York. He was also the editor of the Washington Star. And when I joined the Los Angeles Herald Examiner, he was the editor. His door was always open. I'd bring ideas to him, some of which he said are great, go ahead and pursue it. Others, he told me he didn't like it and why he didn't like it. And we had this incredible relationship. And the best example of what Bellows meant to me is that I wound up writing a 7-part series for the Herald Examiner, a huge, huge undertaking. And when I finished writing everything, I gave part 1 to an editor. I was assigned an editor to give it to, and the editor just ripped it apart, completely ripped it apart. And I was horrified because I loved what I did. And I went over his head and I went into Bellows' office. I said, listen, this is what so-and-so has said. If you would read part 1, and if you tell me that he is doing the right thing with me, I will do whatever he says to make this work. If, however, you think that that what I wrote is better, then I want you to give me another editor. He took it home that night. He came back and he came in the next morning and he got me another editor. So he stood by me, and the series won a major award. So And then he was long gone from the Herald Examiner when I was offered the opportunity to become the gossip columnist of the paper. And I called him and I said, I've been offered this opportunity. He said, stop everything else you're doing, get that job. It will change your life forever. I got that job. It changed my life forever. He was my rabbi up until the time he died.
Wow, it's amazing. Great answer. Well, Mitchell Fink, you've said it all. You are editing manuscripts one day at a time. And I want to thank you for being a wonderful guest on 5 Minutes with Freed.
My pleasure, Michael. Great.